Hello, I'm Oliver Colling, and this is the My 70s TV Childhood Quiz. Hello again, and welcome back to the My 70s TV Childhood Quiz. This is the best, if not the only, fortnightly quiz podcast based on the hugely popular My 70s TV Childhood podcast, although I would say that, wouldn't I? Every fortnight, we pose you 20 70s TV-themed questions, and you do your best to answer them. That's it, really. It's just for fun, and I do hope you enjoy playing. Thanks for all your comments on the quiz. A few complaints that last time's quiz was a bit tricky, although one or two of you did report that you had scores in the late teens, so it does feel like we're pitching it about right. If you have any ideas or comments on the quiz, then do drop me a line to quiz@my70stvchildhood.com. Or you can leave a comment on our blog at www.my70stvchildhood.com or on one of our many social media sites on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, X, and LinkedIn. Special shout out to our YouTube viewers, by the way, where our audience is growing rapidly. If you want to see what I look like, then head over to YouTube, and I do hope in advance the shock isn't too much. So, without further ado, I suggest we get down to the quiz. Grab a pen and paper and your favourite beverage. I'm recording this episode on a weekend evening, so I have a large gin and tonic to hand. Cheers. Very nice. But I better not have too much of it until after the quiz. You never saw Bamber Gascoigne knocking back strong drink on University Challenge, did you? So, if you're ready, then let's begin. And where better to begin than round one? This is a round called The Name of the Game. And unfortunately, it's not about old ABBA songs, but it's about game shows from the 1970s. I will read you either a description of or a quote from a 70s game show, and all you have to do is tell me what show it is describing to win the point. Sounds straightforward? Yeah, it probably is. Question 1. Married couples competed to show how well they knew their partner in the hope of winning a carriage clock. Question 2. Up a bit, down a bit, left a bit. What show does that come from? And question 3. In this game show, contestants played each other in traditional games, normally found played in a pub, like darts, bar billiards, arm wrestling, and even shove halfpenny on a few occasions, I seem to remember. But what was the name of the show? And game show 4. Hope you're all playing at home. Where did that phrase come from? And finally, show number 5. So, how much is it worth, Arthur? And the answer isn't Minder, by the way. This is a game show. So which show did that come from? So how was that? A fairly gentle start to the quiz, I think. So on to round 2. And this is our regular marathon or Phil Rouge round, which asks questions about subjects we've covered in past episodes of the podcast. Now, if you haven't listened to every episode, I'd firstly ask why not, but then say you should be able to take a reasonable shot at most of these. Question 1. Michael Bentine's Potty Time featured in November 2025. And which famous and hugely popular comic group did Michael Bentine perform with on the radio? Question 2. Lee Majors and the $6 Million Man featured in February 2023. But what was the name of his girlfriend who subsequently went on to become the Bionic Woman? And that's the name of the character. Although if you want to add the actress, that's fine, but you won't get another point. Question 3. That staple of school holidays, The Flashing Blade, was our subject in August 2025. What country was the show set and filmed in? Question 4. In August 2024, we look back at Little Big Time. Now, almost all footage of the show has been wiped, so we're only left with memories. But which pop singer was one of the stars of the show? And question 5. Way back in March 2022, we looked at Hong Kong Phooey. In that show, what was the occupation of the character Rosemary? So what was the occupation of Rosemary in Hong Kong Phooey? Halfway through already. All going well? I do hope so. As next we move on to our famous spin the wheel and name that tune round. It's very easy. All I will do is spin our specially constructed, at great expense, Wheel of Fate to choose a year from the 1970s, which I will then input into our state-of-the-art AI-powered theme tune generator, which will randomly choose theme tunes from 5 TV shows first seen on UK TV during that year. All right, so first off, let's spin the wheel. And it's landed on 1973. Okay, let me input that into our AI-powered theme tune generator and see what we get. Okay, so let's see what theme tune number 1 is. I suspect that many of you might recognise that one. So how about theme tune 2? Quite a difficult one, that I think. But how about theme tune 3? That's from an amazing TV programme, I have to say a great theme too. Theme tune 4 is another tricky one. And finally, here's theme tune 5, which I think many of you will know. And there we are. On to our last round already, and this is our TV Times round, where I can ask any 70s TV trivia related questions. So good luck. Question 1. Who presented the long-running astronomy show The Sky at Night during the 1970s? Question 2. Frank Muir and Patrick Campbell were 2 of the team captains in which TV game show? Question 3. In ITV's Arthur of the Britons, a reimagining the story of King Arthur, who played the title role? So who was Arthur in Arthur of the Britons? Question 4. In what fictional town was the BBC police drama Z-Cars set? So what town was Z-Cars set in? And question 5. The Little Mole cartoons were shown often in the 1970s, and the 1960s for that matter, by the BBC. But which country did the BBC buy those cartoons from? So where do the Little Mole cartoons originate? And that's it. Another 20 questions done and dusted. And before I reveal this time's answers, let me take you back to our last quiz and the bonus question. I asked you, who were the 5 toys who featured in Play School? And we had lots of you get this right, including regular listener Mark, who responded in pretty much record time to quiz@my70stvchildhood.com. And the answer is Big Ted, Little Ted, Jemima, Humpty, and Hamble, who I have to say still gives me the creeps 50 years later. Ugh. Well done if you got that right. This time's bonus question is this. In the Jerry and Sylvia Anderson sci-fi show Space 1999, on what date was the moon blown out of Earth's orbit by a huge nuclear explosion? If you know the answer, then let us know by emailing quiz@my70stvchildhood.com. Now, on to this edition's answers. Round 1, the name of the game. Question 1. Married couples competed to show how well they knew their partner in the hope of winning a carriage clock. That was, of course, Mr. and Mrs. Question 2. Up a bit, down a bit, left a bit. Those were the regularly used words by contestants on The Golden Shot. Question 3. I really like this one. Contestants who played each other in traditional games normally played in a pub, like darts, bar, billiards, arm wrestling, and even shove halfpenny. And that was the Indoor League, hosted by Fred Truman, who used to sit there smoking a pipe, which I thought was wonderful. And question 4. The quote, "Hope you're all playing at home." That's Bruce Forsyth in The Generation Game. And question 5. So how much is it worth, Arthur? That was the question often asked of Arthur Negus, the antiques expert on the BBC's Going for a Song. Round 2, our Marathon or Phil Rouge round. In which popular comic group did Michael Bentine perform with on the radio? And that was the Goons. Question 2. Lee Majors and the $6 Million Man. What was the name of his girlfriend who subsequently went on to become the Bionic Woman? And that was Jamie Summers, who was played by Lindsay Wagner. Question 3. The Flashing Blade. What country was that show filmed and set in? And it's filmed in France, I think the Loire Valley to be precise. And question 4. We look back at Little Big Time, one of these shows where almost all footage has been wiped, so we're only left with the memory of it. But which pop singer was one of the stars of the show? And it's Freddie Garrity from Freddie and the Dreamers. And question 5. What was the occupation of the character Rosemary in Hong Kong Phooey? Well, Rosemary was the telephone operator at the same police station where Penry, aka Hong Kong Phooey, was the mild-mannered janitor. Right, on to our theme tune round. Theme tune 1. I hope many of you got this one. That was the theme tune to The Tomorrow People. Theme tune 2 I thought was very tricky. That was from the BBC Two series The Picture of Catherine Mansfield, based on the life of Catherine Mansfield, which starred Vanessa Redgrave. Theme tune 3, that was the theme from the excellent Thames TV documentary The World at War. Theme tune 4, tricky again, that was from a one-season BBC show called Black and Blue, which was a series of plays with very black humour and some blue comedy. And finally, theme tune 5, again one that many of you would recognise, I suspect, and that's the theme to Man About the House. All right, on to our final TV Times round. Who presented the long-running astronomy show The Sky at Night during the 1970s? That was Sir Patrick Moore. Question 2. Frank Muir and Patrick Campbell were two of the captains in which game show? Call My Bluff. And who played the title role in Arthur of the Britons? That was Oliver Tobias, who I seem to remember featured in lots of TV dramas for children at that point, before he then went on to star in films with Joan Collins. And question 4. In what fictional town was the BBC police drama Z-Cars set? The fictional town was called Newtown, although it's based on Kirby in Liverpool. And finally, the Little Mole cartoons. Which country did they come from originally? They came from what was then Czechoslovakia. So, how did you do? Are you top of the fall? Or has Blue January just got a little bit more blue and depressing? Whichever, I hope you enjoyed playing, and if you did, then why not tell your friends? Oh, and we would love it if you liked, rated and reviewed us, wherever you get your podcast from. We will be back next week with the next edition of our regular podcast, and then again in a fortnight with our next quiz. Until then, take care, stay safe, and join us again soon for more from My 70s TV Childhood and the My 70s TV Childhood Quiz.